Women's Canadian Club of Hamilton, Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. We are gathered again to our monthly lunch and learn speaker series. I am Louise Noel Ambrose, the president of the club. We thank you for joining us today. Thank you for those that are coming back on a second visit. We appreciate you being here. We recognize and acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and the Haudenosaunee nations, and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Might we not only learn about the Indigenous people of Canada, but from them. The Women's Canadian Club of Hamilton is striving to continue and to be a group of people concerned about issues that affect women, educating and advocating for those issues in our community. Excuse me. The purpose of the Women's Canadian Club of Hamilton is to foster throughout the Greater Hamilton area an interest in all matters of public concern to strengthen Canadian unity and identity, encourage the education and promotion of Canadian history and heritage, foster an appreciation of Canadian culture and traditions to new Canadians. We meet monthly, the third Wednesday of each month, with featured guest speakers on a variety of social issues. We welcome new members. Our membership is only $25. Please note that we do offer advertising on our website for individuals with businesses or projects wishing to showcase for up to 6 months. Today, our guest is Hamilton Festival Theatre Company Executive Director, Heather Kanabe. She will provide us an update on the 20th anniversary programming. Heather is an arts manager with over 15 years of experience working with cultural and corporate partners. She comes to the Hamilton Fringe after serving as the festival director of the Word on the Street Toronto, Canada's largest book and magazine festival. For over 4 years, Heather is a graduate of the University of Toronto, Honors BA, Specialist Destination in Arts Management, major in Art History, and a MBA from the Holt International Business School in Dubai. She is passionate about the arts in Hamilton and currently contributes to organizations including Telling Tales Festival, Hamilton Artists Inc., and Something Else Festival. Welcome, Heather. Please proceed.
Thank you so much, everyone, for having me here. It is so delightful to join you all, and thanks, Louise, for reaching out. Louise and I are neighbors, so it's really fun to get to each other in this class and learn about what each other's contributions are in the community and how we're all kind of making changes and supporting. So thanks for having me here. And thanks for that intro. I'm a lover of all of the arts, and from a very young age, while I loved math and accounting and business, I also loved creating art. So my journey has been one of kind of marrying business and art, and kind of putting my time and energy into finding ways to support that community and reach the most people through that programming. So most of the organizations I've worked with are widely accessible. Their programming is very accessible. And it's really, they have a common line of storytelling and sharing stories with the greater community. So I'm going to just chat a little bit today about who we are at Hamilton Festival Theatre Company. You'll best recognize us by our production of the Hamilton Fringe Festival here, which we're excited to be back live and in person this year. So I'll share a little bit about who we are, what our community presence is, and some of the changes that we've been making, and then a little update on what our programming is. Before I begin, I'm going to just see if I can share my screen before I continue chatting, and then I will jump right back in. Let's see here. Let's try this. Very good. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. So to understand who we are as Hamilton Festival Theatre Company, we really do have to go back to the Fringe because that is what we were formed to produce. And understanding the Fringe is really understanding a really historical organization or movement, you could say. The Fringe movement started in Edinburgh in 1947. And it was really an activity on behalf of the community to find a place to show a more broad amount of performing arts content, where a lot of the stages curated a really kind of limited few productions a year that were, representative of a certain group and a certain narrative. The Fringe was really about bringing different things onto the stage and getting a chance to celebrate those. So initially it was a first come, first serve. There would be a day and all the artists would come and the first one to the door would get to show their work as part of this festival that was
This meeting is being recorded.
That was produced across different venues in Edinburgh. And as the festival grew and grew and grew, that no longer became accessible. So we moved to a model where it was lottery based. So you'd have hundreds and hundreds of performing arts companies submitting their work and they would be selected by lottery. One of the other principles was that 100% of the money that was made at this festival went back to the artists. So the artist got all the box office and the prices had to remain accessible to the community. So it was really a celebration of work that was maybe in development or periphery to the kind of like the cultural canon, let's say. It came to Canada in 1982 in Edmonton, and now is really across the country and across the world. So we're really happy to host our 20th year here. And I thought as a nice little intro, I would share this little video, which talks a little bit about how we have developed here in Hamilton. So without further ado, I'm gonna press play.
It's unjuried, it's uncensored, it creates this like reflection to the community.
I love how much it's expanded and how much it's grown.
There's freedom within it. There's just something really vibrant about the community here.
There is a thrill to the Fringe, a sense that you're watching something that is urgent. Often people are taking really great theatrical risks, that you're listening to stories that are immediate, that are responding to what's happening in the world right now. And we're all watching that together.
Hamilton was the first city that kind of was like, you're doing okay, it's good. Stop freaking out and just do the show.
It's a place where you can get a sold out show, which is amazing. The audience are very receptive to being flyered. They want to hear about your show. They want to support your work. They come out year after year, which has been really great.
I think you have to have something with heart and something that resonates with people and that's real, and then it can work.
The Hamilton Fringe plays a key role in developing the theatrical economy in Hamilton. We support young artists. We provide a platform for artistic stories from the local community as well as from the national and international theater community. With the name Fringe, people may make assumptions about what it is that we do, but the Fringe in Hamilton is absolutely key to developing the emerging artistic voices here.
I think that it has provided a very stabilizing effect for a lot of artists, and that's meant it's given them a platform that they can build off of. These are people doing experiments, they're doing personal projects, things that they're really passionate and care about, and that appeals to a lot of people.
The Fringe attracts over 20,000 people, not just as attendees, but also as people who take in the city, all of its attractions, restaurants, shops, and businesses throughout their stay. The Fringe Club forms an important bridge between our performers and the public. It also gives us an outdoor space to really highlight our community partners and our sponsors.
Really amazing.
I like the intimacy of it. It's a little different, and the price is amazing. It is on a lottery system, so you are going to get the good, the bad, the ugly, right? But as a theater artist, any one of those I can learn from.
The fit is so perfect within the history of the city, because the city is fundamentally a grassroots city. It's built on very honest work, you know? Everyone is here for love, and they're here for pure creative intent.
Take a risk, put it out there. Because Fringe is the perfect place to do something like that.
Fringe has everything from plays and storytelling, but also to clown and acrobatics and just performance art. Anything can go at the Fringe.
There are increasing audience numbers, and that's been evident year after year. And I think there's still incredible places that we can go. The chance for artists to develop their work is unique. The chance for audiences to come and see something really thrilling, really cutting edge, and really vibrant. That's really unique about the Hamilton Fringe.
Fun. So I guess I can go now. No, I'm just joking. That's a nice chance to kind of see what it's like to be in person again, because it's been so long. I feel like we all need a reminder of what it's like to be around each other again. And it's so amazing when festivals can come to our cities, because they really have a really important role in terms of bringing life to a city. And understanding that we as a company, were founded to produce the Fringe Festival, it leads into how we developed our mandate and our vision as a company. Because as it kind of speaks to in that video, the Fringe is a key part of the development of the artistic performing arts community here in Hamilton. And it's a part of educating our community too around what are artists producing, what is the kind of work that is being produced. We have about 55 shows that are in that summer festival. And Hamilton is kind of unique in that we really have one professional theater, right? We have Theater Aquarius, which is amazing, but it's really one stage for the whole community creating performing arts. So the Fringe Festival has kind of jumped in there and said, we're going to provide lots of stages. And oftentimes we have up to like 10 stages that we kind of take over during the festival. And so when we were developing our mandate, we looked at kind of how we could take what we've been doing at our core and how we started expanding through creating artistic development workshops and another festival and awards and all sorts of activities. And just kind of solidify that we really are an art service organization in this community. And the breadth of what we do has expanded so far beyond that summer festival. So when I came on as executive director, you saw Claire in that video. Claire now leads all of our artistic development programs and is also working on our embedded community festival, which is our Frostbites festival. It's in the winter time. And so when I came on, I was tasked with creating a strategic plan, creating a mandate, vision, values, all of those things that would guide us as we really broaden the type of programming that we offer and kind of solidify that within our annual structure. So you can see here our activities now include the alert program, which is producing program for artistic leaders, a Theater PD Day, which is coming up. It's a professional development day for the community around a different kind of theater topic every year. This will be our first year producing our Spark Tina Intensive, which is a free teen performing arts workshop series. It's about 10 different workshop days, and they will present a show during the summer. And we are doing our first summer camp this year for kids. So really like reaching the continuum of folks looking to engage in the performing arts through our artistic development programming, our community embedded winter festival Frostbites, the summer festival, and our Gilded Hammer Awards, which happen biannually to every third year. So I'm just going to move on here a little bit to just an overview of our values and how those have developed. So again, looking at the core of why we were created and then how we have expanded. Working with the community and our board, we developed these and really are looking at how the organization functions within the community so that we will continue to listen and learn. And that we will take risks so that we are the leaders really from the performing arts community in terms of making sure that that some of the systemic barriers that are inherent within the performing arts community are addressed through our programming, and that we can kind of engage in different research and adjust our current performing arts models specifically as they relate to our summer festival and our winter festival so that they are more accessible. And that when we think about accessibility, we always think about that in terms of both our community, so the folks coming to events, as well as the artists presenting their work. And during the pandemic, that was really challenged for us, as I'm sure it was for many different businesses across this city. And one of the things that we did is we made all of our programming pay what you can afford, so that no one was excluded from the opportunities to present their work. And in addition to the 100% of box office, for example, going back to artists, which is all well and good when there is a box office, we added additional fees, right? So we looked at, what are the gaps that are being created by this current pandemic and how can we actually address those? And we also started to pay artists professional fees. So that means that we guaranteed an amount that was up to a standard, even though we are a grassroots organization. According to our values, we want to take a leadership role, which means we have to pay people what they're worth. In addition to accessibility, we want to also rethink what we define as the performing arts. The performing arts comes with a really vast tradition, right? In terms of, a dark black box theater where folks are expected to sit still and quiet and the theatrical work is to be performed on this dimension of a stage. It comes with a lot of prescription, right? And so we wanted to put in our values that we will reconsider that. And so whether that means creating work that is site specific or whether that means redefining what we consider performing arts. Fringe was founded on the idea of being on the periphery, right? So we want to keep that going through all of our programming, that we don't get stuck in a kind of traditionalist model. But we do want to support excellence, right? So we've chosen the word excellence here instead of professionalism, because professionalism as a kind of semiotic structure comes with a vast history. And so we chose excellence because what we want is to really give people as many tools and as broad a toolkit as possible through our artistic development programming and opportunities generally. And then just to be committed again to being adaptive and responsive and not getting stuck in the kind of structures that we are creating in these kind of strategic plans for the organization, but saying, as we grow and develop, we want to continue to have a structure that is still nimble, so that we can still fulfill the role that we have within the community. Of course, I mentioned briefly that, we wanted to relook at the models that we currently have and how those create barriers. And so We've been working to create some different programs that are even more accessible to the community and really build a better representation of our community as well. So one of those programs that we started developing in 2019 in partnership with the Disability Justice Network of Ontario. I don't know if anyone knows Sarah Jama, but she's a star. And then also with HCCI, Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion, is our Fringe Exchange. And we recently changed the title of this program. It was part of our equity initiative originally, but we've changed the title to Fringe Exchange. It includes 2 subsidized spots as part of the summer festival, one that is reserved for a BIPOC individual and one that identifies as living with a disability. And so how that works is folks are selected by lottery for the festival, but there is still a small fee that folks have to pay that covers all of the production costs. So where normally it would cost thousands of dollars to produce a show, we support all of the marketing, we create the venue, we staff the venue, we take care of all of the box office. And so we charge people up to about $650 to have their show in as part of the summer festival. So we've subsidized that fee for folks in these 2 mentorship categories. But this year is our second year running this program, and we've really stepped up a little bit because there were still gaps within the program. So we've increased, we also pay the mentees a fee. And so we've increased that fee this year to $3,000. So not only are they don't have to pay to participate in the festival, but we're giving them money to really hopefully create more space in their summer, in their lives, for whatever they require to be able to really dig into their artistic work. We have more fees to pay their mentor. We bring a mentor on with them and they get to choose how they want that mentor to engage, whether it's production focused, business focused, whether it's an artistic mentorship to assist with writing, directing. So we work very closely with them to set up that mentorship. And then we also meet with them throughout the course of the lead up to the festival. We also found during the pandemic that one of the biggest barriers that folks faced who were participating in this, this exchange was actually mental health related. And, everyone had a challenge, I'm sure, during this pandemic and continues to with isolation. But also artists' work is often trauma based. So oftentimes artists are reflecting on work that is very close to them and is informed by personal trauma. And so I've been able to raise funds to also pay for a wellness coach for folks going through this program so that they can have kind of like the mental health and spiritual support that they require during that journey that is completely separate from the artistic mentorship. And also additional training for staff to kind of be better able to support folks during that. So that's one of the big pieces that we have. And the changing of the name to Fringe Exchange was really about us acknowledging what this program has been for us as a company, because the artists that go through this program are teaching us as much or more than what we are able to provide them in terms of understanding how as a company we need to create better access and readjust our structures to better support the community. So that's Fringe Exchange. And then this was also the first year that we reserved 25% of all of our artistic spots within the festival, within our programming, within everything we do for BIPOC artists. And that's because at the end of the day, while a lottery system is fair, which is wonderful, and we're so grateful to have that, the reality is we're living in a system that's not fair and folks don't necessarily know about the opportunity. And so in order to kind of encourage folks to take a risk and jump in, we've given a better chance for folks from BIPOC communities to participate in our programming. And we're really happy that we were able to fill 7 of those 9 spots that were reserved. And then the way our lotteries work is it's kind of a trickle down. So if you're not selected for the lottery, that 25%, then you're automatically added to the remaining lotteries for the different venues that we're selecting artists for. And so, in fact, we will have better than 25% representation in this year's festival. And we're thrilled about that because, you know, that's our community. Those are our friends, and we'll have a better representation of what's really out there in Hamilton and who's producing work. Also because we are a close festival to Toronto, those neighbors over there. And so we often get a lot of applications from folks from Toronto. And so, you know, we've reserved spots specifically for Hamilton to, again, have that trickle down effect and make sure we have enough representation here locally, and also from BIPOC folks in the community. So we're excited to see how those efforts give us a more rich programming this summer. So you'll have to come out and check out all of the different productions. We have 55 productions. So it's pretty exciting. We also have a lot of free and accessible programming through the festival, through our Fringe Club. We have youth access passes. So we reach out to a number of different community organizations to give those youth access passes out. That gives young people, teenagers, and up through, I think, 25, the chance to see 10 free shows at the festival. I'm just gonna just hang up this phone for a moment. Very good. I'm just here in the office. Oh, someone really wants to reach me. Forgive me, just ignore that. And then we also have an award ceremony that I mentioned earlier, and that's where another chance to give folks some money and recognize some of the amazing talent we have here in the community. So yes, this is a little quote here from Howard Elliott, that a measure of a livable city, the arts are always important, but in Hamilton, they also play a critical role in the local economy and in maintaining critical redevelopment mass. So we've done a lot to kind of keep things going, and we provide a lot to the community here in Hamilton. There's about 20,000 folks that come out to our summer festival. That's a huge number of people engaging in culture. And we have over 10 venues across the city. So that means folks are coming out in droves to see cool things and, you know, spending money in the community, right? Going out for dinner. So using the tree model, that's over $1 million in visitors spend, which is really important for this city and getting folks out onto the streets. You know, not everyone, you know, we all get so stuck in our cars here in Hamilton, I find, including myself. And it's so great to actually get onto the street and see what's happening in our city and seeing each other. And I think, you know, following the pandemic, it will be so interesting to see, because Hamilton is changing, right? And, you know, we want to see who is on the street and who are our neighbors. Alert itself, our artist producing program, has really generated a lot of the arts professionals in the performing arts community in Hamilton, and the people producing work. It's amazing. Every time I see new people creating work, I'm like, oh, you came out of our alert program. So it's really exciting to see how then they can contribute back to that community and developing it. I already talked about Fringe Exchange and the Gilded Hammers, but since the pandemic, you know, despite the challenges that the performing arts community has faced, which is still at 40% smaller than it was pre-pandemic in terms of like current data, we were able to pay about $80,000 to artists, 48 producing companies, 328 artists during the pandemic through our programming. So we maintained programming that whole time. We pivoted to online things. We did outdoor things. We did as much as we possibly could. And that's really solidified us as a supporter in the community as that community service organization. We had 14 people participate in our alert program during the pandemic, and we hired over 15 people for different work during the summer, a lot of young people, and all sorts of different positions, and a lot of new technology-based positions as well, as we kind of pivoted during the summer. So just in terms of like some of the little facts and figures, we've kind of chatted about most of this, but normally the summer festival returns over $100,000 to artists, which is huge. And those are artists on the periphery, right? They're not necessarily the big production companies. These are emerging and risk-taking folks producing work in the city. And during the summer, this past summer in 2021, we still had over 2,000 in ticket sales for our online festival, returned $35,000 to artists, and had 181 participating artists in the festival. So I'm very proud of my team for being able to keep doing this. And it was not easy as a company to kind of maintain that motivation and also that cohesiveness as a team when some of us had never met in person before these festivals. So, you know, I'm very proud of my team for what they've been able to do. And I think too, in terms of representing the city, what's neat is our festival reaches a really broad spectrum of folks. So it's young people, it's everybody comes to the festival. And I think that's a really beautiful thing in terms of community development, is when we can all come out and see the same thing and have conversations about the same thing. And interestingly enough, about 68% of our audience comes from outside of Hamilton. So it really is, you know, folks coming from, a lot of folks from the Southwest of Hamilton that come up, and people from the States. There's people that tour all of the different festivals that are associated with the Canadian Association of Fringe Festivals. So it's a pretty unique festival in this city. We also have a huge reach in terms of our media partners. And I mean, that is an amazing giving back that our media partners do for a relatively small media buy. In addition to some of these media partners, we have, you know, WNED has come on recently as a partner. So, you know, you see us kind of everywhere, and it's exciting that we all get to kind of engage around periphery performing arts. So this is just a quick overview of what we have scheduled for the summer. There will be, I think it's actually going to be 11 performance venues. That includes our 4 main venues and then a number of bring your own venues. And so the way bring your own venues work is a venue will come to us and they will say, hey, you know, we're happy to host folks that maybe didn't get in on your lottery. And so we say, for sure, apply. We have a limited number. It takes some of the producing stress off for us. And so they take on the kind of producing work, but we still provide the box office and the front of house. So that's the volunteers that manage the box office on site. And we also include them in our program as well. We have over 55 artistic companies participating. Our outdoor fringe club, the licensed patio, this year will be at John Rebecca Park. So it'll be the first time that anyone is really activating that park. And we're working closely with Wesley Ministries and Keeping Six to, you know, meet with the community and do pop-ups over the next couple months to kind of support the community and let them know that they're welcome, and give them opportunities to show some of their work also during that outdoor component of the festival. This will be the first year we have our Fringe All Access program, which is actually a curated group of shows. So there'll be 5 shows that was curated by our community curator circle. And so that is a group of curators that we brought on board to kind of join us and do the curating for us. And I think I've mentioned everything else, so I won't take more time here. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I know my time is about up here, but I do want to do a quick plug. We also have our Theater PD Day, actually this Saturday. So if folks are looking to get out of their house and watch a monologue slam and participate, there's a raffle. Staircase Theater, Staircase Cafe is hosting us. It is their first big event that they're having for the public. So if you're interested, check out our website at hamiltonfringe.ca and jump on the box office. And I think it's $12 to come out. So not a lot of money, but you're more than welcome to join us. And we're also going to be hosting a kind of storytelling sharing that's in partnership with a number of community activists, May 6th and 7th. And that's part of our community-based residency for our Frostbites Festival, which will be taking place February 2023. So I'm here to continue with the networking and the chatting, but thank you all for joining me for this little presentation and learning a bit more about the Fringe.
Heather, thank you so much. This was an incredible presentation. I am impressed. We appreciate you and your team for all that you continue to do for the city of Hamilton. Remain well. The floor is open for questions.
Heather, could you just let everybody know how they can find out where the events are and when the events are? You know, do you have a website or a Facebook presence or whatever?
Yes, we are everywhere. And sorry, Louise, I'm just seeing your message here. So our website is hamiltonfringe.ca. And if you go there, you'll see updates to our programming and you can link to our box office there. We are actually going to be getting a beautiful new website starting June 1st, which will have everything much more nicely organized and new copy and our new brand, which will reflect this kind of presentation that we have. But head to hamiltonfringe.ca for updates. You can also subscribe to our newsletter there, and we send weekly, bi-weekly newsletter updates in terms of what's happening in the community. So we would love for you to join us there. And I realized I just sent a message directly to Louise instead of everyone in the meeting. And I do want to take a moment. I apologize. I totally used the acronym BIPOC a number of times. And BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, Person of Color. And it's important to spell that out because those are our brothers and sisters, and we want to make sure everyone understands who we are talking about in the community that also needs more support. Yes, Pat. Oh, I think you're on mute there, Pat.
Sorry, that was going to be my question. I wanted to know what those initials stood for, and then when you repeated them, I couldn't keep track. Would you please repeat them again? The BIPOC?
Absolutely. It's Black, Indigenous, Person of Color. So it's the most broad way of saying someone who doesn't come from a white settler background.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Heather, can you tell us what Frostbites is? Is that just a mini Fringe festival?
Yeah, no, definitely. So Frostbites, it started as a site-specific festival. So it started as us kind of like jumping into a spot in Hamilton that hadn't really been discovered very much, and bringing a bunch of artists there to explore the space and explore the stories that came along with that space. So we did one at the Westinghouse. We did one at the Cotton Factory. We did one at St. Paul's and New Vision United. And we did one at the waterfront. And what we kind of learned through that process was a couple things. A lot of the stories that the artists were telling we're really social justice focused. We're really looking at, the echoes of the stories of those spaces were people and experiences that were fraught and needed exploration, and artists wanted to discover and explore. So we experienced that coming up as a common theme. And then also we realized that a lot of the sites in Hamilton are really have been explored at this point. So, we've gotten a lot of kudos from the city in terms of exploring spaces, but we kind of started coming to a point where there weren't a lot of spaces for us to explore further. And so we went back and said, okay, what is this festival? What do we really want to achieve? Initially it had been created so that there was another place for artists to be creating and developing work aside from the summer festival. So putting it in the winter time, a slightly different format. So it's kind of a second stage for artists. And so what we decided was to really rethink the idea of site specificity and talk about it more in terms of the community. And so we're moving the festival to Ward 3, and we'll really be embedding in Ward 3. And so we've started doing the work by doing some professional development training with the artists in the community around what community embedding is. So we partnered with Jumbalee's Theatre from Toronto to do that. They came to Hamilton and led a series of workshops. And now we're working on a community-based residency. And so we have two kind of great performing arts leaders who are working together with 5 different activists in the community around different who kind of speak to different social justice themes through their work. And they are creating an artistic work, which will be part of the festival next year. And also the interviews that we're taking through this process will inform the curated work that's part of next year's festival. So we're kind of doing an initial showing of that work on May 6th and 7th. But then we will be curating work between then and next February. And then we will be showing that work hopefully at Bernie Morelli and some other community partners within the community. And doing some public programming that's also free and accessible, doing some workshops around different social justice topics. And the overarching theme for this year is nourishment. So nourishment is the theme of the festival for 2023. And it's been quite beautiful to witness all of the activists and artists gathering together with food and engaging in that topic area.
Okay.
Ekaterina, I think you have your hand up.
Yes, I do. I have a small question. So obviously you take in a lot of artists. I was wondering, I have a lot of friends who are, because I myself, I'm very much into art. I enjoy the arts. I love it. And I am involved I sit on the board of the Hamilton Conservatory for the Arts. So I have a lot of people, a lot of friends who are interested in getting even more involved with the arts. So I was wondering, do you guys have any volunteer opportunities that they can get involved in as we're moving forward with festivals and other little things and events you guys are doing?
We rely heavily on our wonderful volunteers to help us out during all of our festivals and events. But especially during the summer, because we're activating over 10 venues, all of our usher positions are volunteer positions, and those are very important. And we have a number of positions at the Fringe Club as well, and related to the box office. So there's lots of different ways for folks to volunteer. We also have steering committees and things like that. We're always looking for new board members as well. We're currently at 8, so we're looking for about 3 new board members. If anyone knows folks definitely interested who have some kind of community-based experience or business experience. Yeah. Susan.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, as with wanting to bring artists and everyone together with this venture, what is your collaboration or relationship with the Greater Hamilton area players groups like the Hamilton Players Guild, Waterdown, Dundas, et cetera, et cetera? How do they play a part?
Yeah, so we partner with the Players Guild of Hamilton. That's one of our core venues here at the festival. And so they support us with very reasonable rates so that we can host on that stage and bring lots of folks into that theater. Currently, the festival is still fairly Hamilton central in terms of downtown central. Just because of walkability and things like that. But we're starting to kind of think outside of that box. And so, certainly we'd love to be able to share more communication with more of the community theater groups around Hamilton. So we're always like, anything we can do to kind of share stuff in our community corner in our newsletter. We're happy to do kind of reciprocal communications and promotion. And sometimes we've partnered with folks like with some ad exchanges and things like that in our festival program, which goes out to about 60,000 folks. We're always open-minded for new community partnerships. So hook me up if you know anyone.
Well, would you, for example, contact the other arts groups in Hamilton and ask if you could maybe piggyback on or get the word out through them about what they could do to help or how they might be or interested or whatever?
Absolutely.
You do that? You do that, yeah.
Yeah, we reach out to a lot of folks. I mean, we can always expand our reach. I don't know why that someone really wants to get a hold of me, but I'm ignoring them. Yeah, I'm putting it down though, because I'm going to see who's actually on our outreach list in terms of, where we communicate. Yeah.
Because it isn't far, like from Dundas or from Waterdown, it isn't far to come to help or to give ideas or whatever. And it seems to me that the outside laying groups of Hamilton or Greater Hamilton would be an area to expand on.
Definitely. Thank you.
Any more questions? I'm not seeing any more raised hands. So at this time, Q&A is closed, and I call on Susan to give us a quick update of our signature event. Susan?
Yes, I just wanted to say a few words about our Women of Spirit Award. I know that many of you have, which were here last month, heard about it as well. But it's to honor a former Hamilton woman who has been extraordinary in many ways. And this year is our second one. Due to COVID, we couldn't have one last year and the year before. Seems like a long time. But this year it's Irene McDonald. And she isn't well known, we find, but she was born and raised in Hamilton and was a professional athlete. She won 15 Canadian championships, American and Mexican championships. She was the first Canadian Olympic medalist in diving, and was Woman of the Year, Female of the Year, Canadian Sports Hall of Fame, and Order of British Columbia. Many awards and a wonderful person. She first rose to fame through her diving, but then she had a retina problem, eye problem, and had to stop that. So she went into coaching and coached some championship teams all over the world in diving competitions. And from there, she went to as a commentator and was the best known voice of diving in Canada for about 10 years. So Irene died in 2002, and this year we're hosting this award ceremony, and it's to be for a woman from Great Alberta, Hamilton, who has made significant contributions to our community, is a role model, and demonstrated compassion and service, and continues to strive to make the world a better place. The event takes place in October, but we want you to put that down, please, in your date book. And we'll probably have up to 5 women who will be on the list of the final list, and we would love it. We learn a lot more about Irene, and it's really a wonderful luncheon and then award ceremony. So please put that name in your book for then.
Thank you, Susan, very much. Appreciate that. And for all who are internet savvy, social media savvy, the information is on our website and our social media platforms. So thank you so much. I call on Lee to give us an update of our upcoming next meeting or AGM.
Yes, I'm just checking our calendar here, Louise. I believe our meeting is on Wednesday, May 18th. That's the 3rd Wednesday in May at 1 o'clock. And we're going to stick to the Zoom for now. I know a lot of people say the pandemic's over, but we don't really believe that. So we'll just stick to Zoom for now. On Wednesday, May 18th, it'll be our annual general meeting, at which time we will entertain nominations for anybody wishing to come and serve on the wonderful board of this club, and bring your thoughts and your excitement and your brand new ideas, and shake us up a little bit and keep us going forward. If there is any motion that anybody wants to bring forward to the meeting, they are asked to let us know like now so that we can prepare things for the AGM. We do not have a speaker arranged as of yet, but we have a couple on the back burner, and whatever we find, I'm sure will be very interesting and that you'll really enjoy it. So we hope to see you then.
I love his appearances. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We appreciate your time and dedication to the Women's Canadian Club of Hamilton.
Did we say thank you to Heather? I didn't. Thank you, Heather.
I did. I said it twice.
Yes, thank you, Heather.
Maybe I had a
But
sleep.
feel free to thank everybody. Feel free to thank Heather. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Heather. That was delightful.
Thank you. Very informative about the Fringe. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Meeting is adjourned at 1:58 p.m.
Thank you.